And this is the regular city council meeting for Minnetrista from October 20th, 2025. Our first order, I would like to ask all of you to join me in Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So thank you, staff and council, for being here, and all of those listening, watching, and around on YouTube. And also we have a very special guest with us this evening. I will introduce him in just a little bit. First, I'd like to make introductions of the people that are here. Myself, I'm Lisa Whalen, I'm the mayor. Next to me are council members Kathleen Redkin, Peter Vickery, Claudia Lacey, Brian Govern. And then we also have staff here. We have our new city assistant administrator, Paula Baumann. We have Gary Peters, who is our public works director. Jasper Krugel is our city administrator. Brian Grimm is our finance director. Sarah Sonsala is with us this evening. Again, in person, thank you, Sarah. And she is our city attorney with Kennedy and Graven. And then we have our chief of police, Craig Squires. With that, I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda, but there's a couple things I'd like to change. One, I would like to move item number 2B to item number 2A. So just switching those around. We have Representative Myers here with us this evening, and I'd like him to be able to leave as soon as he would like to. I know he wants to stay for the entire proceedings, but, and then I think we had one item we moved. Oh, yeah, 6B, was it?
Yep, so I'm requesting all of 6B be postponed to November 17th. We'd like Aaron to be here. And he just actually texted me that he has something else going on the 17th as well. So TBD, we're gonna have to get it. I'd like to have him here, so it might be December.
Our first meeting in December.
So,
to be determined.
Yeah.
All right. So at any rate, we will be moving item 6B. So with those, are there any other changes? Hearing none, then is there a motion to approve the agenda with those two changes? So thank you, Ms. Redkin. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Vickery. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes. So next we have special presentations, and like I said, we have Minnesota State Representative Andrew Myers here. I want to first thank you, Mr. Myers, for joining us. It's always a pleasure to have our representatives here. And I just want to say to the council and to those present, we sit up here neutral. We are not Republicans or Democrats as we sit here. And so it doesn't matter whether you're Republican, you happen to be Republican, but whether you're Republican or Democrat, we welcome all of our representatives. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm glad that you have been working on our behalf. And I'm going to hand it over to you, and you can tell us what you've been doing and update us also. I think I asked updating us on any information you might have on the housing bill.
Yep.
So thank you again.
Mayor, council members, staff, thank you for having me tonight. You know, it's been several years where I used to be a council member, sit in those seats, and it can be a thankless job, and you don't really get paid for it. So thank you guys for doing it.
Yeah.
I know that some give up babysitters and they, I mean, I don't know, it's scary. Losing. So, you know, and as you said, I think you touched on it. I mean, for a lot of us down there, it's really a focus on public service. At the end of the day, you know, our constituents want us to get stuff done. They want us to address things, to do that, especially, you know, this past year in a tight house, we really had to work together. So that's really important. You know, some of the things I really want to focus on is just some of the legislative updates that will impact local government. A lot of stuff, you know, took place, but specific to local government, one of those things was an amendment to open meeting law to allow members of the body to participate remotely in locations not open to the public. I think for, you know, some smaller cities, you know, or smaller councils, just depending on the size, they need to make sure they have a quorum. This is important. Other things when it comes to infrastructure, we now authorize public water and sewer districts to install water and sewer line infrastructure and public right of ways. And then another one with, we're seeing a lot of newspapers go out of business. And because of that, we want to make sure that, you know, we have backups or opportunities to give notice to individuals. So now you're able to use your website instead of qualified newspaper if none is available. So those are a few things that happened at a local level. this is my second term, starting my third year. One kind of consistent theme I've seen down there has been a very top-down approach, and that is also intertwined with a one-size-fits-all. If that comes to our school boards, like we have local school boards here, but what I see down at the Capitol a lot of times is kind of an overarching state-run school board. Same with housing. In the past couple of years, we've really seen a one-size-fits-all, again, over the top, one-size-fits-all housing, same that we've seen for some of these benefit packages for employers. And, one thing I really try to do is reach out to my councils, reach out to my mayors, and ask them, hey, this thing is going to impact, or this potential legislation is going to impact our local communities. What are you guys, seeing within your local community? And specifically, Mayor Wheeler brought up the missing. And that was something I heard consistently from my 11 cities. Give us the right. Every one of my cities is very different. I would say they have different touch, taste, and feel. Some of them, like Minnetrista, have more land to do certain things. My community, like Tampa Bay, pretty built out. So working with those local cities based on what their needs are and what they have. We don't need to push in a density in one area where it's just not going to work for the community. And when you're doing that too, what I saw was there was no money that came with it. So you're asking people to do a lot of work or mandate something with very little, financial backing. And so, I do believe, again, we'll probably see something coming down. The league has done a good job of, again, listening to local cities to ask them, what do you guys want, and then advocating. For me, it's, again, directly hearing from you guys. So I know, when I go in there on that missing middle, that was one topic that everyone in my city just said, yep, let us have local control, because you guys do comp plans. Very important. We spend a lot of time and money on those comp plans. To come in and completely change those, can be very frustrating. Another piece that I want to talk briefly about is, bonding. We did pass a bonding bill this past year. It was roughly $700 million. Heavy focus on PFA water infrastructure, which I like to see. It's something that's really important if we're focusing on roads, bridges, and water. You see some road back projects a little bit where you'll see, pickleball courts. You'll see some of these things that are just not a priority, and it's frustrating for me because I have some cities that have really stepped up financially to take care of their projects and take care of their
Minnetrista.
Like Minnetrista. And so it's important to recognize that, but it's also important to recognize that you get into some of these situations where the cities just can't handle it, and they kind of coincide with property taxes as well. And that's one of the biggest things I hear is just that increased property taxes impact families, impact seniors. We had some opportunities down there this past, legislative session to look at some of those property taxes. My frustration is we saw that money go to the departments to hire more state employees. When we have some of these departments that already have job openings. There's dozens and dozens of job openings, but we seem to keep focusing on wanting to hire more people. And to me, it was a really good opportunity to invest in our neighbors, the people that live around here, versus kind of more government. Because at the end of the day, I think that money invested in our neighbors is better spent. So for what we're seeing this next year is potentially a 1 billion to 1.3. I go with $1 billion. We're not going to know what that number is. Andy Lee is the nonpartisan fiscal researcher. I sit on capital investment. He's the one that'll give us the number. Like, here's as high as you guys want to go in your ratings. And we'll then have to see where leadership decides to go. If it's, so I'm trying to stick with a round number of $1 billion. If that's being, if that's the number, then you start distributing it out, because the Senate's going to get a certain amount, the House is going to get, they divide it into 2 buckets of what's going to go to local projects. So a lot of times you'll.
When will you know that?
So typically that is not till, so sessions in February, it's not usually till late in the session. The projected numbers that come up in the budget office are April-ish. So it's
So really close to the end of the session.
It is, so that's.
But you'll know whether or not there's going to be a bonding bill earlier.
Yes, but it still has to get the votes.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
the votes aren't there, super majority votes.
Yeah.
But, the plan is, from what we were told, is we're doing this bonding bill this year to focus on those, PFA projects. And some of those state assets, but that a good portion of next year's bonding bill is going to be towards local projects. We do see the administration have some projects that they want to get done. Would I love to see a 50-50 split of that billion so that there's $500 million? Yeah, I'd love that. I'm trying to be realistic.
Yeah.
So, along those as well, we have a house bonding tour for the metro between the 12th and the 14th of November. I have not heard back. I know the mayor and city administrator and who else worked on that one pager put a great one pager together, because I already kind of shared that a little bit, and feedback was really good. My hope is that we can get, again, another stop for Minnetrista on the bonding tour. Now, that may be in person at this location, but it wouldn't surprise me. What I'm being told is that they may say we're going to do either our lunch break or dinner break. They typically do it at a college. And when they do it at a college, you're there for an hour and a half. They'll bring in 30 cities to make presentations. We did it last time at the library in Excelsior.
Yeah.
For me, of course, it's in person's great. If not, then it's, going to maybe be at one of these locations where it's pulled together with other ones. I try to do things a little bit different because I always want to advocate for my cities. So when we're on those buses, we're stuck on those for a couple of days. And, you have a very captive audience. I've made the pledge for the projects in our communities that we'll do that one pager, and as we're trying to do the next project, it's very easy just to go up and down the roads and hand it to people and give my own little presentation. They have a microphone on the bus, so I can give a little one just to remind people the importance of money invested impact out here, to ensure that we have, good systems for water and sewer. So that is my, pledge.
Thank you. And let us know if it's in person.
Sure.
Like last time, we would love to do a short presentation.
Yeah, and typically I did receive an email last week asking for some contact information from my city. So I know that they're working on that. And with co-chairs, it's going to be co-chair Fu Lee, co-chair Mary Franzen, and the ones that are deciding which stops are going to be on there. I've advocated for this, Excelsior, and Minnetrista. So, other than that, the biggest thing for me is those partnerships, and those partnerships start locally. They start with school boards, they start with our city council members, they start with our county commissioners. It's really important that we're having this those conversations, because when you go at things alone, you're going to probably make a lot of mistakes. And the more that we can bring people together, that's why I think it's so vital that the relationships that we have here at the local level. I would just ask you guys to continue to keep reaching out to me for things that you need for the city with your, city council mayor hats on. If you have stuff that's personal, please reach out as well. But I want to make sure that I'm focusing on those things that are most important to the district. Highway 7.
Yeah.
Really big. I was just on a call with a group of people from Victoria, and my constituents, but they're reaching out because they know I'm on transportation. I work a lot with Ryan Wilson. I think he's doing a good job through Hennepin County. The commissioner's doing a good job, very responsive. We're just trying to figure out what that's going to look like for what the final say is. I was asked to send a letter requesting federal funds. So I did send a letter to Congresswoman Morrison as well as Congressman Emmer. I think it was a good letter, sent it both to the Republican and Democrat because it's impacting both of them. Would love to see some bipartisan support to get some federal funding because they are looking for that. Another piece is e-bikes. I do hear a lot about e-bikes, especially in the West Metro. So we're trying to make sure that we can come up with some frameworks that will make it a little bit more enforceable. In Excelsior and Otway, it's every one of my cities, and it's starting to get worse. I'm sure you guys have seen the videos of stuff like chasing
Yeah.
They want e-bikes or e-motos. So we're really trying to work on that to address that. That being said, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Sure. Just a quick question. So first of all, thank you again for all your work on the bonding. We really need the money because, and we'll send you some numbers in case you have to present those to Willie. You probably already have it, but $28 million is what we're looking at having to invest in addition to the 17 million that we've already invested in. We have never, ever, ever even asked for money other than last year for the same project. We've never, ever received any money. So we really hope that message is really loud and clear. We're not here because we just, think that our rates are going to be too high. We know our rates are going to be very high if we don't get any help. So that's one thing. The missing middle housing bill, please keep us informed on that because, and I know they legal as well, because one of the issues is we've done this water infrastructure comprehensive plan, and it's been based on our planning and zoning and our comprehensive plan. And now if they come in and just helter-skelter put in housing, who knows what, it could be a nightmare. And how, not only for the water and for the sewer infrastructure, but policing and fire protection. I mean, it's just, there's so many issues with it. So if there's something that we can do to help you make sure that the cities are really well heard, let me know, let us know. We would do that. And I know you've been supportive of cities. And like you said, one size fits all doesn't. So those are the, and also I'm really, really glad that the website, that now council members can participate via web, internet. Too bad it wasn't a little earlier because we did have a council member that could have utilized it.
Yeah.
But anyhow, so we're really glad about that. I'm glad to see that. And then also nice that we can now publicize on our website for public hearings and notices, but we still have good thing. We do have a local newspapers. I think we still advertise both places. Anything else?
Thank you, Rand, for serving and answering all of my emails and my emails.
Yep.
How is the legislature going to address fraud? Like, what is your plan, or what have you heard amongst the GOP members? Because it's astronomical and ridiculous.
Yeah, I think when it comes to, there was a bipartisan bill in the Senate for Office of Inspector General, came to the House and it just died. To me, that's frustrating. We've seen fraud and we've seen it at huge numbers. And I'm going to stand outside a little bit as my role as a legislator. I sit on the board for the West Hopper Food Jail. I do a food rescue every Friday morning for 10 years. When you see some of that fraud that takes place in food insecurity, I think how much of an impact that could have. It's not only your tax dollars, but Minnesotans are really caring about their neighbors, and we're taking away from those families that need help. Friends and families that maybe have a special needs child. I mean, they're losing resources, and also, my sister has an autistic son. We saw the fraud take place in the autistic system, and it's taking away resources from those families that our communities want to support, but now they don't even have the opportunity to get that support. I think there needs to be some. I don't know what other role you could be in when you start seeing some of this information and 20 of the addresses are the exact same. We got to start looking at some of these employees that work with the state and probably holding them accountable. And firing some people, to be honest, is probably just the first step. But we haven't seen any of that. I don't know when we're going to step up and do some of that. Again, we're talking, it's estimated that, $2 billion, and we'll see how much there really more is going to be out there. But it's frustrating to see that as a taxpayer, money we spend at the legislature, and just knowing there's a lot of families that depend on that money and could have really used it.
Yes, yeah, very much better spent for families that need it versus families that are greedy. So thank you. Are there any other city questions that
One thing I'll throw in there, Jasper's been great. I know a lot of times I'll just defend him because
that's fine.
Mayor Whalen says it's okay, but I'll give it to Jasper, and we'll be up. We had a couple calls with PFA really trying to see if we could get some money that way, trying to advocate for things. Just trying to be creative down here
Right.
to help support our city. So he's been really good.
Yeah, he's great, thank you. All right, well, we won't take up more of your time. Oh, okay.
Are there still negotiations going around a special session or is that ship sailed?
I feel like there hasn't been a lot of conversation. When it was first announced, I think there was several meetings, half a dozen or more, between party leadership to do a special session. But at this point, I mean, I haven't heard anything for weeks. Doesn't mean that, we're not doing our work. I mean, I just met with a doctor, law enforcement, really trying to find ways to support our schools in a multifaceted approach. And that's something, there's some proposals out right now that aren't going to have an impact for years and years and years. But there's definitely some proposals that we can do right now that would have an impact, for our mental health within our communities, for, safety within our communities. And, I won't get too much into, our Hennepin County.
Yeah, we won't end up with names.
Yeah, I just, but it's something that, I mean, from the propaganda with all my mayors, I was just Mayor Weirson and Minnetrista.
We sent a letter.
Yeah, and I've sent a couple letters and got the response back, and that's why I try to make the point that when you go at it alone, you're not going to be successful. Taking the time and effort to build those partnerships and coalitions, we need to do more of that.
Yeah.
That ends up to me feeling like public service instead of, one party, one person trying to jam stuff down. So.
That kind of reminds me of another question.
Sure.
I don't know if this has ever been discussed at the state level, but so we're trying to work on a partnership, a fire partnership. Okay, and one of the issues that we run across is so St. Bonnie and Mound, they have different relief funds, different retirement accounts, and it's potentially creating an issue. And so I don't know.
It's not potential. It is.
Well, and then there's a lot of money that they may have to spend in order to merge the two. Is there anything at the state level? Can they create some kind of fund for it? Can they create a bill where, anyhow, and I could talk to you offline a little bit more about that, but that is another concern and maybe something that could be addressed at the next legislature.
So I apologize. It's under item 4G is that I have that I'm working on is the consolidation of fire services.
Okay.
I mean, we've been talking about it a long time.
Yeah.
Not only in our communities, but around the state. And if we're going to do that, we've got to figure out ways to help some of those cities. So, Mayor Holt, as well as yourself,
Right.
trying to work with Susan Linchesky down in the pension
Yeah.
office
Right.
to make sure that we can start something, because if if money's the final issue, and especially in pensions, I don't know why we can't produce something that helps equalize that. So I am working on a potential fund to help consolidate those services,
Right.
because I think, we've seen other communities start new fire departments, and I think we need to get to the point of start, consolidating.
And you're gonna see that more statewide.
Yeah.
So that's the one issue. But then the other issue is, my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, is if you want to create a fire district, the only way you can do that is 100% market value. And that's the only formula that can be used. So is there some legislation that could be introduced that could do a 50-50? So 50% market value, 50% service under a fire district?
Yeah. So I think right now, that, as you said, I think that's the district versus doing like a JPA,
Right,
where you can
right.
look at other things. It's something that I would have to talk to Ms. Linchesky about. I think she's the expert when it comes to pensions, because it could be very.
And it's different than the pensions, but keep that in mind, because as more and more fire departments have to, seriously have to merge, it may be another tool that would be helpful for certain cities.
Yeah.
So,
Like number of calls. I mean, there's a lot of different factors, because, again, when I was a council member, I had some of that. And,
right,
trying to figure out what was a fair allocation, and not these areas, we're doing a lot of mutual aid as well. But
yeah.
when you only have one option that's based on value, it makes it a little bit more difficult to find something. We'll go that way.
And we can do a JPA, but we can't do a district.
Yeah.
So, all right. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Right.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. All right, And you're welcome to stay.
Sorry.
All right, next up, we have our third quarter financial update. Mr. Grimm, I think that is you.
Yes, Madam Mayor and Council, so that is, yeah, attached at the front of your packet. Most things are tracking as they should be, it's just to highlight the memo. This point of the year, we're usually in that upper 50% for revenue collection. Obviously, our biggest downstroke will be when the December tax settlement comes in for, the rest of those revenues. But yeah, I think our building permits were actually hanging in there as far as where we've been, as long as we keep, getting some here in the, I guess, fourth quarter here. And I think they're still at least having some activity here in October and stuff. So as far as that, otherwise, I think, yeah, most of the revenues are tracking well. As far as expenditures, we're usually about in that mid to upper 70% at this time of the year, as far as some things have been paid in full for the year and some things have the final monthly or quarterly payments to make. A couple things I think I wanted to point out, I think on the cash and investment report is the cable fund. We'll probably have to look at, I think as the franchise fees keep going down, we'll probably have to allocate a little less expenditures of staff time and other items to the cable fund and more back into the general fund. That's just going to be necessitated to do that. I think, and then previous quarters, like I mentioned, might be a couple of budget amendments we might need to look at, just as far as like when the engineer tech was hired a little earlier. It was going to be a mid-year hire than earlier. Just worked out, we found, Brendan. And then the police department, we'll have to see how it shakes out. We've had some financial things to the good, some obviously things, with the change in the chief as far as some just financial changes there. So, but otherwise, yeah, as globally, I think we're tracking good, but there might just be a few things we'll have to follow up as we get closer to year end. So.
Okay. Just a quick question. We haven't had dog license fees for years. How come it's still even listed?
I think it's if we have, Craig would maybe know, I think if we have a dog license, I think we have like later, sometimes we have, we had one recently where I think it was, we don't charge anyone for dog license anymore, but I think if there's some, once in a while we can get like
Just curious.
some miscellaneous fees in for.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, members of council, that's probably for dangerous dogs. We still charge if somebody else, whatever, that's our statute of dangerous dogs, so.
So they still have to come in for a permit? Oh, okay. All right.
So once in a while we still
Well,
get
it's
something.
zero budgeted and zero.
Yeah, so.
Revenue, so
That's
that's
right.
right.
Yeah.
Dues and subscriptions, $5,800 over for administration. Or did everything just go up in price, or we do more programs? Why?
Oh, dues
No,
can be
sure.
anything from,
Yeah, and most of those probably should be, paid in full now for the year. But yeah, I think it's just depends. And I think for the 26 budget, I think I bumped that up based on the trend. I think it's just been, things cost more to go to, whether it's trainings or and then just the different mix of things that, people are going
so
to.
we're members of Northwest League, for instance. We're members of the Minnesota Mayors Association. We're members of the league. We're members of, I think you're a member of the Minnesota Managers and Administrators Association.
Yep.
And then we have a clerk. Our clerk is also, and these are really good programs because you network, you find out things from other people, how they're doing things. You can bring back ideas for your city. And also, it's also a professional growth initiative too.
Metro cities as well.
Metro cities. is another one.
Yeah, I did look at in the preliminary budget back in August. Yeah, I bumped that up to 30,000. I think I've just been a little light on that line item the last couple of years, just with basically some of those items. So, yeah.
All right.
Any
Other questions? All right. Thank you, and we'll look forward to the year-end update. All right. So next we'll move on to consent agenda items. Are there any you wish to remove? Hearing none, then they will consist of approve our work session meeting minutes from October 6, 2025. B is approve our city council regular meeting minutes from October 6, 2025. C is a resolution to approve claims. D is a resolution to a reimbursement resolution for the Woodland Cove Water Treatment Plant, the 2026 road projects, and the 2026 equipment certificate. And E is a resolution to approve our 3-year auditing services contract with Clifton Larson, Allen, and Financial for our financial audits for 25, 26, and 2027. F is a resolution to accept improvements and authorize final payment for the crack fill and fog seal portion of the 2025 pavement management project. And G is accept a body worn camera audit. And H is approve our renewal of embedded social worker program agreement. And I think I met with the social, embedded social worker at our last public safety meeting, and it's really, really, really a good program. So I'm really glad that we're participating. And then I just want to say, then approve temporary liquor license for the Tonka Brew Fest, which is November 8th again. Deer hunting opener. And that's it. Is there a motion to approve consent agenda items 8 through I?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Cover. Yes, there is second. Thank you, Ms. Lacy. All those in favor, signify by aye. All those opposed, motion passes 5-0. I'll get used to govern pretty soon, but.
Another 3 years.
Just ask one question for the embedded social worker. Why does this term for the agreement start January 1st, 2024?
Good question. I'm not 100% sure other than they extended it, so I think they were just extending it.
Yeah, it was interesting, it was fun to meet her because she's basically part of our team at the police department, and so it was a very nice opportunity. And I know that Chief Squires and our police department, they really, really feel it's a very, very important and really positive addition. So that's really good to know. So with that, we'll move on to our business items. First, we have Minneapolis Avenue fire lane improvements and the Bayside riprap. So we are looking to accept and approve this contract and quote. I believe it's Ms.
I'll take this, and members of the council, back in September, you instructed, Ms. Husky myself to look a little bit deeper into this, get some quotes out and get some feedback from some contractors for repairing the 2 outlet structures. One that they're both on the lake. One is off of the very end of Bayside, the other is in drainage, easement fire lane on Minneapolis Avenue. We did send out 5 quotes or bid packs to 5 different contractors. I received one back from Sunrise Construction, another one that's done a lot of work around here. They just started set to do barge work. It's a lot easier to come in from the lakeside. So we're very happy with the number that Sunram presented us with. The estimated budget we were thinking was going to be around that $50,000 mark, and they came in at $26,000, which is great. I believe they're still only trying to get that done yet this year too, which would be awesome to get this done. So we got a little bit of permitting left to do with the watershed, but otherwise we should be set to go for this and get it all done. So just FYI, Sunram was the same contractor that's done work for us on the, what would have been the,
the major or
not ready, what it was.
Morning view?
Morning view, thank you, morning view, I can't do the
Topsman, yeah, and then within another.
They did that, Hannibal Mountain area. They also did the reconstruction of the park at G. Lanier. And they've also done some work at, on the waterway for, I believe, for the watershed district at, Lift Station 2. Wasn't for our project, but they came through our area and they have really great work.
yeah, nice.
So what we're looking, what we're recommending is to approve the resolution presented to you tonight to award a contract to Sunram for the drainage improvements at both the Bayside outlet and the Minneapolis Avenue fire lane.
Correct. Thank you. Any questions? Then hearing none, do I have a motion to that effect? Thank you, Mr. Bigby. Is there a second?
Second?
Thank you, Ms. Revkin. Any further questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. So that concludes our business items, and we'll move on to staff report. First of all, David's not here. Do we have a planning commission meeting in?
We do.
We do.
I'm
And
going.
you're going.
Is there parks too, or just cars?
There's a parks.
Okay, so 6 o'clock.
is 6 o'clock unless you hear otherwise, but there likely will be one if they can't get quorum.
Yeah.
So,
You'll be notified.
Yeah.
All right. Any other reports?
Just a couple brief things. So obviously we're working on bonding for the water treatment plant. We've requested $14 million. We kind of have a $28 million total project cost. That was via guidance from Ann Johnson Stewart, who will be here in November. I think November 3rd, she'll be here. So we will see. We likely won't be on the Senate bonding tour, but there might be an opportunity to present or do something in between official tour dates. One of those, kind of like the House of or the Representatives. So working on that. Hopeful that we'll get something this kind of last go around, because if we don't, it's kind of on us to proceed. We've already awarded the contract. The update on the hard scrabble sign, that likely will be going up next week, early next week. So there will be a memo that gets sent out to the residents, just so everybody knows, in case you get an email from them asking what the heck is this. So you can point it back to me, and that's fine.
And the gentleman that this all occurred with is very happy. So,
Great.
hopefully, yeah. Wow. He thanked Jasper for his all of his efforts. Okay.
Paul and I are working on, along with Gary mostly right now, are working on the holiday tree lighting event stuff. We're trying to gather some donations, so we're shaking people down. We've already got a few donations, so it's good. Trying to coordinate food and things like that, all the rental stuff.
Again with
Some
pretty good stuff.
Yep, they did. And yes, so so the fireworks will be at 6:30. Everybody hopefully will be clearing out around 7. So it'll be about 30 minutes earlier than last year.
Okay.
So.
And tree lighting is at 5:30.
Yep.
Right after Santa, right.
So I think we've posted some things on social media about the event. So, and then our security camera project is kicked off, and there's wire and things like that around City Hall, and I think that they're going to start installing the hardware here any day. I think that got delivered last week, and it's in storage, and they're going to be doing it. So we'll have a new system here. I'm excited to see, the upgrade from, analog to digital.
So when we arrive, we should wait.
We could. Craig will be watching at all times, 24/7.
December
4th.
4th.
Yep.
Thursday, December 4th. I think it's the first Thursday in December. Y'all will be there, right?
Yeah, I can. I'll send out a little reminder with the flyer.
And the Lions are going to be there with their wine and beer.
We're still waiting to hear back, but we believe so. They said they were going to be. It's just, it's a service organization. They don't have somebody working 24/7.
You need to send out an email again.
No, we've sent out. Yep, we've tried to contact them, so I'm sure we will.
All right. Anything else then?
Yeah, that's
All
it.
right. Council reports? Anything?
Just that there's supposed to be 25th anniversary on the 25th.
Yeah, that was.
I know most of you are busy, but you can always send a donation.
Good job.
Or a basket, a gift basket for the silent auction.
All right.
I was at the Pioneer Center watershed. Usually there's nothing for us because we're just a small part of the watershed district. But there were 3 items.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Anyway, so there are 3 things. Of course, last year we did the treatment on Whaletail, alum treatment to reduce the phosphorus, and they're going out for bids. Then second treatment in the spring. There's only one company that did that. It was a bid last time. Bidding, so that will be December 16th. Ready to do the bidding. So keep our fingers crossed they don't jam us on price. So there's that, and then also on Whaletail, or excuse me, on Oxio Lake, there's been no monitoring of that lake because it's all surrounded just by private property. But I find that really frustrating because there are grants from the state to study like drainage into the lake and things like that. But if there's no studies, then they won't grant.
There's no monitoring.
Yeah, so I think I'll try to work this winter to get somebody on the lake to monitor it. We just need a boat.
Yeah. Can you monitor it from the road? Like, could you, because so 92, you know, kind of leads into.
Should ask, I was sitting, but
Well, I'm just wondering if you could launch a kayak or
Yeah,
something.
okay.
Yeah.
from there.
there's gotta be somebody along the lake that,
Okay.
so I'll work on that. And then the other thing was, last year we also did a project, that was on Kingswood Drive where it's a gravel road silting into a timber bog. We fixed that, but apparently about half the vegetation died that they planted. So they replanted that and planted some more. Brian, the person from the scientist from Three Rivers said it looks really good.
Okay.
And it's worked as planned. They were having some heavy rains. It's just the way they thought it would. So that was good. That's it.
Great.
Yeah.
So the only other thing is our fire partnership meeting, which was supposed to be tomorrow, has been postponed until November. So we'll update you on that in November. And other than that, oh yeah, yep, I think that's it. So with that, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Remken. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Vickery. All those in favor signify with aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion passes 5-0, and we will see you again on the 3rd of November.